from WFAN Studios in downtown Manhattan, a special edition of The Three Wise Men with WFAN's Mike Francesa. That's next. Don't move. And hello again, everyone. This is The Three Wise Men, Channel 34 in Montclair. I am Al from White Plains with my hometown hero, the one and only Mike from Montclair to my left. Dennis D'Addario, a.k.a.
Twitter,
Denny from Yonkers on my right. We're everywhere, Facebook, Twitter. Check us out on the Facebook page. And, of course, the link, Channel 34 Montclair. Special edition today. We're at WFAN Studios. Why? Because basically without WFAN, there probably would not be an Al from White Plains or a Mike from Montclair or a Dennis from Yonkers. Because this is the station that we started calling 27, 25, 24 years ago when sports talk radio really hit the airwaves in New York. And for us, the rest is history.
That would make me, what, 32?
In dog years. And we're going to be interviewing the one and only king of sports talk radio, Mike Francesa, in a few minutes, who is basically going to be our show today, who was kind enough to come and allow us to come into his studio and interview him. Gentlemen, how are you?
Boys, this is a thrill.
Yeah, this is fun. Mike gave us good 45 minutes on our radio show a few years
Many moons ago.
Back.
Yep.
And is nice enough to do this again, and it's a big deal for us. We like it.
And it's interesting how his career has progressed in those number of years, and our careers have sort of
parallel, right with him.
Kind of
parallel, right with him.
Like a roller coaster, gone down, but now we're going back up.
Well, as he has really become as famous as you can be in this business, we have become as famous as you can be as callers. Come on, let's pat ourselves on the back. We are known not by our last names, but by where we're from.
I find that a bit
embarrassing.
It could be a good thing. You go with what you got.
Well, could be a bad thing. You know, the bottom line is.
I was explaining to Sharon and Heather on the way in. I said, because they had no idea who Mike Francesa was, and I said, think of it as this: he is to sports talk radio what Michael Jordan was to basketball. I don't know how else to put it, but he is the gold standard. He is sort of what everyone emulates.
I'll give you a closer
and that's
analogy.
why so many people do take shots
How about,
at him.
And I don't want to get carried away here, fawning all over him, but Walter
we'll
Cronkite of Sports Talk Radio. Walter Cronkite of Sports Talk Radio.
Okay.
Cronkite set a new format for that type of news and was the name in radio. I know there was Huntley Brinkley after him, but Cronkite set the standard, and these guys, Mike along with Chris Russo,
Edward Armero before him. But remember,
you get the point.
This is the station that really spawned sports talk radio. Okay, there was Art Russ Jr.
Right.
Okay.
Bill Mazer.
There was Bill Mazer, who was also a part of this station.
Right.
And who had the lunchtime show for Mickey Mouse.
Right.
But when they came down, they started on 1050, which very few people remember, and then merged with Imus in the Morning, who was on WNBC, and they bought the station and the frequency when NBC got out of the radio business and went down to a 50,000-watt signal. And as Mike has talked about many times, and I'm sure he will probably allude to when he comes on our program, that none of this would have not happened without the partnership of Don Imus and Imus in the Morning.
And Mike has always given Don Imus credit for that.
A lot of credit.
I mean, a lot of credit. Says he's the main dynamic
again,
of the station back then.
The reason we're all here, the reason why we're friends, is because of the Francesa.
And the connection of being called.
Which started, by the way, in a basement in Astoria. That
Kaufman
didn't
Astoria
have a window.
Studios.
This place is like the Taj Mahal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I first met Dennis through his brother, who put the connection together at the White Plains train station where his brother used to work. And the guy who works at the White Plains train station came over to me and said, that's Dennis D'Addario, Dennis from Yonkers' brother.
A long line of D'Addarios working at the train station?
He drove for White Plains City Bus, so he was in the train station all the time. And the guy who works the newsstand knew I was Al from White Plains. He said, that's Dennis from Yonkers' brother. He wants to meet you so you can meet his brother. We met through a mutual friend of ours that you knew Mike Woodrow through
summer camp.
Summer basketball camp.
That's
and
right.
I used to go to the same gym as Woody.
That's right.
And
we now own Woodrow Jewelers in Rye, New York.
Exactly.
That's right.
You guys started the radio show. I joined in. That's how I met Mike, and there we go.
And the rest is history. And listen, we can sit here and wax poetic about our relationship for the next 20 minutes, but we're here to speak and meet with Mike and sort of learn a little bit about him and let our audience learn about him.
And we'll
without
do
further
that.
ado, let's get to it.
We will do that in a couple of minutes.
Right back with really the king of sports talk radio, the one and only Mike Francesa. We are the Three Wise Men, Channel 34, Montclair. Back after this.
Welcome to my block party. Glad you can make it.
The only triple doubles you get come with fries.
I can do this all day. Your moves are just gay.
Using gay to mean dumb or stupid, not cool.
Not cool.
Not in my house, not anywhere. It's not creative, it's offensive to gay people. And you're better than that.
Three Wise Men are back. Renato, Goldstein, D'Addario, with our special guest here at WFAN Studios in downtown Manhattan, the one and only Mike Francesa at WFAN. Mike, welcome aboard, and how are you?
Nice to have you guys. Sorry we have such tight accommodations, but you know what? I had to sneak in. I had to work that.
We are all cut so perfectly, Mike, that
Beggars
we can fit in here.
can't be
That's
choosers.
it. I mean, I had to get you in the back door, so there's nothing I could do. You know?
On the service elevator.
I tried to find the smallest room I could to put you in. So let's
Hey, we
go.
really appreciate you being here and having us in.
Yeah, sure you do. I can tell.
It's been 25 years since you've been on the air here at FAN. We'll get into some sports.
I hope this is not about me. So
no, we want to cover some of it because
some of it
the three of us know each other primarily because of not primarily because of FAN, and I actually knew your former partner because of FAN.
I mean, you don't know him anymore.
Oh, I know him. It's a texter. It's a text thing.
Oh, you hold the grudge because he didn't put you on his
No,
panel.
no. He's just become a texter. You can't.
We know that.
He doesn't talk on the phone anymore.
We know that. He used to scream about, "Hey, put him on here." And when he had a chance to put you on there, what did he do?
I did a great job. I know you're right. You're right.
That's a
you
true
said
friend.
you said put up or shut up, and he's been killing him over it.
Absolutely. He used to say, if I had a choice, I'd put him on the air.
But it's been a
happened?
remarkable 25-year run. Let's face it.
Let's
And
get
as
back
Mike
to
says,
Christmas.
Is that for you?
wait a minute.
Is
As
that
Mike
for you?
says, he calls you the gold standard. I'll buy that. When this started, back in 89, I guess?
87, but Mike and the Mad Dog 89.
You were with Eddie Coleman first,
Yes.
then when Mike and the Mad Dog 89. When this started, any ideas that this would explode the way it did? Because
No.
you guys have, there was Art Rust, there was Bill Mazer, but you guys really took it to another level.
I thought I thought we would be successful. I didn't think we'd be that successful. I mean, we were much more successful than I thought. But don't forget to give Imus credit because in the
You always
history
do
of
that.
this, you have to. Because I'll tell you right now, people don't understand the economics of it.
Well, what was the
station
dynamic
was
there?
losing a lot of money. And they were going to pull the plug. And if if they had not made the move to 66 and inherited Imus in the Morning, which gave them a foundation to make money while everyone else got up to speed and everybody got everything the right way with the sports part of it, it wouldn't have worked. It would not have worked. I mean, because somebody would have pulled the plug. I mean, it gave us a launching pad, and eventually it could have run without him, but not in the first 5 years of its existence. It
correct me
was
if I'm wrong,
imperative
Mike.
that he was here.
That was a jump down to 50,000 watts because people don't remember
Yeah, it was a
that
better
you were up
station.
at 1050,
Yeah,
which was,
which
I
we-
believe, 10,000 watts.
Yeah, and that's always been that signal thing's always been way overblown. It's an excuse. It's a bad excuse. But the bottom line is, that wasn't the problem. The problem was they tried to do local sports inside a national format. It was not going to work in New York. They came in, they brought guys in, they were importing guys. They were flying in update guys just to work on the weekend. Their expenses were insane.
And
They
every
did
name
not,
in the book
They
started.
did not have a format that worked. They also were spending money like crazy. It was not going to continue. They were going to fail miserably with their plan. Their plan was outsiders who didn't understand New York, who tried to come in and do a local
Gumbel.
station. But they were doing a national presentation inside a
show.
local station. It was not going to work. When we went local, and you added Imus, and then they hit on Mike and the Mad Dog, the thing took off like crazy and became one of the most successful radio stations in history.
So what was the over-under in your own mind when you were teamed with Dog, how long it would last?
I had no idea. I never
Do you have any
looked at-
expectations?
No, I didn't. As a matter of fact, we both fought doing it. So, see, you got to remember, we got hot. We were both fairly hot before they put us together. We had both had a pretty good run in the year before. We were both coming through Don's show, and we were both doing different shows, and we both had a lot of attention. We got a lot of stuff written about us. We were getting a lot of offers. We were getting a lot of attention by ourselves individually. Yeah. Yes, we both were. And then when they put us together, it was very. As a matter of fact, a lot of people were like against it. I mean, don't put us together. It's a bad move. Give them each their shows. And there was a lot of debate inside. As a matter of fact, Don was against it in the beginning.
That was Mark Mason's idea, was it not?
Mark Mason. Don was against it. The general manager at the time was against it. But Mark Mason had this idea. He was steadfast about it, and he was right. It worked. It worked, obviously, bigger and better than anybody could have hoped for.
And when I first called you, you were alone. Chris was alone back in your solo careers. Then I used to call you when you were with Eddie, and you were doing the regular show.
I only worked with Eddie for like 4 months.
And you were doing the football show on the weekends.
I did the football shows. That's how I started here. And then I was with Eddie. They put me in midday, but Pete was sick so much.
Pete Franklin.
Yeah, was sick so much. Either Lampley was out or Pete was out, and I wound up working a show solo almost all the time when I worked with Eddie. Anyway, Eddie wound up working by himself all the time. I never worked with him. And as a matter of fact, by the time we had been together just a couple of months, they put me in the whole summer for Pete. I worked that whole summer in Afternoon Drive by myself. Now, they called me in and said, do you want to stay in Afternoon Drive? What I didn't realize, I was so naive then, I didn't even check the numbers. When I got called in and given an ultimatum, Mike and the Mad Dog, you don't
obviously
get the show.
You're doing well.
I was doing a lot better than I knew, and I didn't know about the numbers yet. I hadn't understood the numbers and how to read them or anything else. So
Demos, the whole thing.
I didn't understand any of it yet. It was just too new to me. So I didn't have the leverage that I should have had. I learned very quickly after that, but because you start getting paid that way, and you start getting bonuses that way in the beginning, and most radio contracts are that way. So you start looking at ratings every week, and we here discuss ratings on a weekly basis. You get report cards every Monday. I mean, that's how we work, and people react to good or bad to what happens. That's just the way it is, and it's been that way for 25 years.
So fast forward, Mason puts the two of you together,
Right.
Chris Russo and yourself.
Right.
And when did it get to the point where it was just a snowball going downhill and it was virtually unstoppable? Because that soon, huh?
Well, the first month was terrible. I came up with Dog Date Afternoon, which to his credit, he agreed to do, which became a huge sensation. It was my idea, but he had to agree to do it. I was married, he wasn't. He had to agree to do it. He was a good sport, and he agreed to that. That took off and was a huge success. And by spring, our numbers were off the charts. We were first by a mile, and we were the hottest thing going. And then there was no looking back. And listen, we had times, there was, I don't want to go into all of it, but there were 3 or 4 different times where the show almost ended. And then 19 years later, the show did end. But
19 years is a pretty good run.
Yeah, it was a great run. It was an all-time run. It's an all-time show. But that's the way it goes. And there were 2 or 3 times the show almost didn't survive, and then the last time the show didn't survive. So that was basically it. But that was 19 years afterwards, and 19 years in this business on one show,
that's a heck of a run,
is insane. And now I'm 26 years into the same show, and that's all in radio. That's an eternity.
What in your mind? What's more fun, the first 19 or the last 6? And maybe that's an unfair question.
It's not even. It's like apples and oranges.
Totally different.
Yeah, it's.
When you and Dog split for good, did you kind of see any mortality in what you were doing? In other words, were you nervous at a certain point?
Yeah,
that,
I was
can I carry on by myself?
I wasn't. I mean, listen, there was a reality to it. The reality was I was going to be now Imus was gone too, so there was a reality that I was going to be put in a position to have to carry the station for a while. Number one. Number two, there were a lot of people lined up that wanted me to fail. I mean, we all know that. So, that's what, when you get to a position where you've had a lot of success, the only thing anybody wants to write is
top of the food chain.
They're always after the guy on the top of
and they want to go after you. And listen, a lot of people
that
said,
was going on when you and Chris were together, too.
Yeah, it did. They never got us then, and they've never gotten me since. And, maybe someday they will.
Re-up for another 5 years.
And we're going to be back to talk about more of that. We got to take a quick
commercials, break. Really?
Back with more Mike Francesa here at WFAN. We are the 3 wise men. Back in a minute.
Now it's time for This Week in Bad Stats.
Bad stats?
Horrible stats. Here goes. 132.
That's how many batters struck out 4 times in one game last season.
Wow, very good. Here's a tough one, though. 3 and 4.
No idea.
That's how many kids have witnessed bullying. 3 out of 4.
That's not a good stat.
No, it's not, but it can change. Kids want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov and give them the tools they need to help prevent bullying.
There are plenty of safe ways kids can help at stopbullying.gov.
Three Wise Men are back with our special guest here at WFAN, Mike Francesa. Mike, just one question I want to ask you before we get into sports. Yeah. Because we're all about the same age. You're a couple years older than Mike and I.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Dennis is older than all of us.
Thank you.
Is that true, guys?
How
I know I don't look at Mike, but...
especially in what you do, if it has been difficult, has the adjustment with the social media change been for you? Or has it been something that's been a very smooth transition?
I mean, you have to incorporate it into your life. I mean, my guys use it, meaning my staff use it, and they use it extensively. I don't. I made a decision a while ago. I mean, if you're breaking in now, you are going to have to, because the radio station is going to make you use social media. You're going to have to Facebook. You're going to have to use Twitter. You're going to have to do all that to promote your show. I'm in a position where I don't have to do any of that. I'm on 30. I have the longest show in America, and it's a solo show, so they get a lot of me. And so I think what people do with their Twitter accounts is the most mindless garbage I've ever seen in my life. First of all, it should be taken away from athletes and celebrities because they don't realize that somebody has to edit it, because they use their thoughts randomly and they get themselves in enormous trouble, which we've seen already. Yeah. Number two, why would you care what somebody's eating for dinner or what their thoughts is or what their night is like? Nobody cares. I don't care. You can take the most famous person in America. I don't care if you talk to the president, Tiger Woods, whoever you may deem the most famous person in America. I don't care what they're doing.
So there's nobody you follow on Twitter?
I don't even look at it. I mean, and nor would I. Now, do people break stories on it? Yes, but a lot of that stuff is always erroneous too. A lot of people battle on Twitter. So to me, listen,
it's like the blogs
business
and
is
else.
changing. You have to, if you're a young person, you are going to have to incorporate all that into what you do. I personally don't have to, so I really don't.
I thought the championship game from Monday, the 8th, was a tremendously hotly contested basketball game.
It was a terrific game.
Your thoughts?
It was a terrific game. I mean, what was good about it was, first of all, there was some offense for a change, which was nice to see. Guys actually made shots for a change, which was nice to see. It was the tournament of people shooting 35% and winning. So it was nice to see somebody make shots. And you had guys from Central Casting making shots. It looked like Hoosiers for a while. So that was fun, too. And then you had a very compelling game that was very interesting, because you had a game where the Michigan Star was shackled by fouls, and there was a question about how much he should sit out. And then on the other side, you had the Louisville Star, Smith, completely out of control at the night where he virtually was useless.
Awful.
And almost hurt them by being on the floor. So you actually had a case where the second-line players were your best players, although Siva played very well in the second half.
First half was out of control.
But they won the game because of this first half stretch that got them back in the game and their board work in the second half. That is what won the game, hands down. They won the game on the backboard. That's where they won the best.
When you were discussing Syracuse yesterday, you were surprised by their lack of offensive ability in the Michigan game. I thought that was their cross to bear in the entire tournament. I would watch them go 7-8 trips down the floor and not score consistently. So I was surprised by your take that you were surprised that they struggled so much offensively.
Because Michigan's not a good defensive team.
Exactly.
That's why. Because they had athletes and they had size. And Michigan had some players who they have on the floor who are not athletic or are small. And they are guys who I thought that the Syracuse players could take it well. And the lack of Syracuse structure in their offense on Saturday night was embarrassing. It really was.
A lot of it, I think, had to do. I'm sorry. I think a lot of it had to do with how poorly Carter Williams played. He was taken out of the game. He really didn't run the offense well, I thought. And I agreed with you. I thought they were going to be able to score more, not necessarily by shooting better, but just by getting to the basket and making what I thought would be easier shots, and they really didn't get that many.
They got a bad break at 28 seconds because it was a block.
Yeah.
But I thought with 18 seconds, their play was ridiculous. Take it to the basket, get a layup or a dunk. They won't foul you.
College teams do that.
And then they don't have a timeout, and they had trouble inbounding the ball. You can get a steal there. You can get a 5-second there. I mean, it was just very, very poorly done. And I thought in the championship game, I know Beeline a long time. If you've listened to my show, he's been on a million times. He's one of my favorite coaches.
So he did a bad
job.
I
thought he had a rough game because in basketball, your job is to stop runs, and you do. I did not have as big a problem as some people did on the panel watching the post game last night about him not putting Burke back in the first half, but you have got to. It's absolutely mandatory that after that second three, which cut it to 7, you got to call timeout, and you have to say, let's tempo the game, let's take a shot, let's get out of here with a 7-8 point lead. Instead, he sat on his hands and went in. And could have gone in down 1 and went in up 1 because they got a bad call the other end with 2 seconds left. Otherwise, he goes in down 1, which would have been shameful. To me, college basketball, the most important 4 minutes or 2 minutes into the half and 2 minutes coming out. And in coming out, Pitino called a timeout to stop a Michigan run. Going in, he did not stop the Louisville run. And to me, that was the difference in the game, except for Louisville's board work in the second half, which Bohannon's board work was not only relentless, it was overpowering, and it was a difference in the game.
And he looked like he was celebrating at halftime that he was up 1. I mean, I understand he's got to keep his team up, but I would have been, if I were him, I know he had to walk off that court despondent.
He knows he can make shots, though. That the one thing Michigan, he personally is a very positive coach, Beeline. Plus, he believes he can make shots. Listen, his team was a couple of plays away from taking that to the last shot of the game, and I actually believe that if the Burke block had not been called a foul, and it was a terrible call, if it had not been called a foul, that game would have come down to the last possession.
You like Burke in the pros at 6 feet tall?
There's room for him because he's a great shooter.
The hot button local topic, Knicks got 50 wins. I thought that's about 5 more than I thought they'd get this year.
Yeah.
Started good, mediocre, good again. Are they
great.
Great. Are they somewhere in between? Well, that was it 12 in a row now?
They're playing great.
Yeah. That's can be tempered by some of the guys sitting at the end of the year.
They got the Wizards coming in tonight.
But which Knicks team are we going to see in the playoffs, Mike? And I think they're going to be first. My partners don't. I think they're going to be all out to win with the Celtics in the first round. They'll probably win it, but I don't think it's going to be a day at the beach for them if they get the Celtics.
I think the Celtics are too old. I think they're too beat up. But
they can give them a good series.
No, I don't
5
think so.
games.
I don't think they're healthy enough to do it. I think Indiana will be if it's the Bulls, it's it won't be the Bulls. The Bulls be in the 4-5. Knicks won't. Nets could be in there if they can get past Indiana in the last week of the season, which is still a possibility.
Bulls is a tough matchup for them.
But the Knicks won't see the Bulls because the Bulls.
But the Nets are
if the Nets are in the matchup, the Bulls are going to lose.
Yeah.
But the Nets can get past the Pacers in the last 10 days of the season if they hustle, if they could, and that would be a Knicks second round, which would be a lot of fun.
Which Knicks team do you
buy?
buy?
The Knicks are going to win 2 rounds, and then they're going to lose. But the thing that
you're confident about that second round?
I think they'll win it. I think though the problem for the Knicks going forward, and I don't know if it'll rear its head again this year or not, it's the untold story. It's the elephant in the room. Is that the Knicks win when Stoudemire doesn't play.
Yep.
Okay, Anthony and Stoudemire can't play together. Look at the record when Stoudemire isn't on the floor. It is overwhelming.
What's the best guess on him?
They have won 30 of their last 35 games.
Right.
He didn't play in. Okay, it's obvious he and Anthony cannot coexist. It's not Stoudemire's fault. They owe him some loyalty. He came here. He allowed other people to come behind him. They had to give him a crazy contract because they couldn't get anybody to come here at the time. The franchise was toxic. Now that's all changed. They have a team that is better without him, and it's a big issue. But I don't know how they're going to handle that. I don't know if they will have to handle it this year, but it's become, without question, the reality is that they are much better when he's not playing.
And before you go, any advice or career advice for the 3
Pros
wise
of
men?
wisdom.
Hey, I don't think I could improve on this. I think
Did you hear that, Montclair?
When you see something that special, when you see something that unique, just leave it because
Now, wait a
seeing
second.
you 3 guys
Can we
on
make this a weekly spot?
videotape is just. I think you have found your place for
Our
it.
niche?
I think you have found your niche. I don't think really that my audience is ready for you guys on more than a phone call basis. It's just that you are so intense and bring so much light to the program.
Feel
that I think it can
knife.
only be taken in small doses. The 3 of you together is just so overwhelming. It's too much for the ears or the eyes. It is.
It's really too much for the eyes.
She gets it. She's
3 wise men.
Mike gets it. You guys are saying really, and she's
that
over
3
there
wise men
she's got it
because we're old. You got that.
Before he runs out, what are the odds, since we happen to be here, and you happen
So
to
that's
be
really why you came, looking for a job.
Well,
We all know the truth.
No.
Now that you're
We're not
here,
asked you if you want a
I
partner.
only asked
here.
you about 10 times. And since we're here, you're here, and we're in no rush. You have room to put the Three Wise Men on your show today?
I
15
do.
minutes, like maybe 1:30 to
but
1:40.
Chernoff might have you killed before
Why?
you leave.
Why? What is
security up
Because
here?
he doesn't like any of you as far as
Period.
callers. No,
Period.
no, it's not as callers. It's that you. First of all, you have all haunted him in different degrees in your careers. Number one. Number two, some of you, Mike, have been very critical of a lot of his hires on different programs.
Right.
So, you know,
Like every call.
like everybody, come on and like spray everybody and
Have
then
you listened
start.
to Steve? Have you on the
Here
way
we
home?
go.
Have
Here
you
we
ever
go.
listened to Steve Summers in your car when he does the
I would
nursery
venture to
rhymes?
say, have you heard the vitriol when he talks about Salzburg? Oh, it is.
Well, I mean,
unbelievable.
That-
He
that's
doesn't
in a
work.
class
He doesn't
by
work. He
itself.
doesn't work here. He doesn't
No,
work
no,
here.
he's not here.
No, but
so
when
he
he
should
did,
never
but
worked here.
so Chernoff has really a repellent for all of you. I mean, when you come
varying
in the
degrees.
building.
So you think I should have taken him when I dropped in his office, said hello, and he said, "I'm
Wait.
busy right now, Dennis"?
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't call security. But the thing is, Dennis, how is it that that vast channel doesn't have room for
Oh,
you?
Mike's loving this.
Or
You,
this
you will have to give a call up
that's
to New
24
Canaan, Connecticut,
hours.
and ask him personally.
That's 24. I think this show plays to that serious audience.
At least
I
Mike
think
has never. At least Mike has never promised me a gig. He has promised you gigs.
Chris said, he told me, I was one of the first who knew you guys were splitting up, I think. We had breakfast one morning
Sure,
back
knew
in
before
March.
we did.
Back in March.
Except I really, I
You
think
knew.
you knew before.
You knew before.
I
No,
think
I
you knew before. Well, not the official. The official.
We had
statement,
breakfast
but
one morning.
We knew, yeah.
We had breakfast one morning. I said, "Am I coming over with you?" He goes, "Absolutely."
That was
Here we
5
are in
years ago.
2013.
See, I can tell you better. I can tell. You see,
I
I've never
said,
liked
and
it. I've
you
told you
said,
guys you've had no
you told
chance.
me
That's it.
on a phone call I was frustrated, and I added bitter and frustrated.
What? Serious
But you
question.
guys have all had success. Although Dennis, I think you're just independently wealthy.
Yes.
But I mean, Al's a lawyer. Mike's already sold his company. You guys have had plenty.
And his
of
wife
success.
makes about $6 million.
That's it. So that's it. And you're independently wealthy. So what are you guys worried about? This is a hobby for you
Mike,
guys.
What do you-
I
These
predict
ladies
they'll have to.
work.
I
It's
predict
a
they'll have to
hobby.
carry you out
As
here, and rightly so. I
Benny.
wouldn't leave for anything. It's
I'm
a
telling
great gig.
you, I have already. Listen.
You don't believe that.
Listen. I don't ever comment on criticism.
We hope
because-
not either.
Nor do I worry about it because you get a lot of it in this business. But being a full-page story on Sunday in the paper, being called a liar 4 years in advance is tough.
That's-
Okay, I lied 4 years from now. So
That's
or
Bobby
5 years
Raceman,
from
folks,
now.
isn't it?
I mean,
Mushnick,
so
is that
I mean,
Mushnick or
no,
Raceman?
No,
it
it
was
was
Raceman.
Raceman.
I lied 5
They're
years from now
interchangeable.
that I'm not leaving.
Yeah, that's kind of
Okay?
rough.
But listen,
But Mike,
I've always said I will leave before I have to, and I will hopefully leave on top, and I'll leave before I have to. I will say that I would make it 20 to 1 that I would ever be here after that.
Massive
As an
audience,
old school guy who's been doing this for a long time, with sort of the new guys that have come onto your airwaves here, and the way they present their shows. I mean,
I'm gonna be as this is, and I'm always honest because I always tell you exactly what I'm thinking. I never ever get involved.
They get involved with you?
I don't worry about that. I'm the big guy. I'm supposed to be the target. I'm the guy they
The
talk
gold
about.
standard.
I talk about. They talk about me. I don't talk about
ad
them.
nauseum.
But that's okay. I mean, that's
But
okay.
that's not what I asked you. I asked
But
you,
no. What I'm saying is, I don't get involved.
So
in
you're not
having-
gonna comment. You're not
No,
gonna
no.
comment.
I don't listen.
I was
I'm
just
being
gonna- that was
honest,
my
I
next
don't
question.
listen.
Do you even listen
No,
to
I
the
try.
programming?
I try not to. I really do. I don't listen to the radio much. I really don't. I might listen to Joe and every once in a while driving in just to see what's going on. But I listen when you do 5.5 hours a day. When I get in the car on the way home,
You're done.
We listen to a ball game or music. We never listen to anything else. And you can ask Julio.
is Julio here?
Yeah, he's here.
Can we come? Can we interview him when you leave?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask you.
And no one knows more about the Niners alive than Julio.
I don't know until you had him on, and then you threw games at him. And
Well,
I
he
don't know.
kind of. I think he froze.
I-
He actually froze. He
wanna
forgot a
ask-
Super Bowl.
I
but
wanna
he
ask-
had a tough time.
I want to
with
ask
that,
you
yeah.
this because it's evolved over time. How much harder, if it is, for you to do this with young kids now, as your life is going?
None. I have a great wife. I mean, I have a wife who is youngest of 11 kids, and who has an incredible work ethic, and was brought up the right
She has
way.
10
and,
siblings.
And yes, and came from a hard-working family, and who believes in actually working as a housewife.
And
I takes care of the kids herself, does the laundry herself, does the cleaning herself. So I mean, she's an old-fashioned
remember when
wife.
I met her?
You know, she likes to do things.
I guess my follow-up would be: has she got any sisters?
She has 6 sisters.
At 2:35, met her. She's lovely, and I told Mike she knows more about sports than he does. She goes, no, Dennis, she knows more than you do. And I said
she knows a lot about football. Football's her game. She likes football, and knows more about hockey than I do. But those are her 2 sports. But she actually, she's a lot younger than I am, but she really does a good job. And hey, the kids are great, and I see them. I put them on the school bus every morning. I have 3 children, and I spend time with them. And if I'm home at night, now they're old enough to watch games with me every night. Jack had to stay up last night for the first 5 baskets he got to watch because it was past his bedtime. So he got to watch 5 baskets. He's only 8. He got to see the first 5 baskets. He was counting them off. So
big basketball fan.
Big.
That's a sport.
No, they love everything. They love everything. I have 2 Met fans and 1 Yankee fan.
That's rough.
Out of my 3 kids.
How'd they kill 2 Mets?
The twins are split.
The mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law is my wife's a Met fan, and my mother-in-law is a Met fan. And my wife's a Met fan. Her whole family's Met fans. And my daughter's a Met fan because Mom is. And my sons are 1 Yankee. Jack's a Yankee, and Harrison's a Met fan. So we're split there. They all root for the Giants.
Good deal.
All right. And they all root for the Knicks. And
I didn't think they would root for the Jets.
They don't root for the Jets.
That's surprising.
No, they know the Jets aren't nice to Dad. That's what they know. So they don't root for the Jets. That's it. But they love Jose Reyes. That's their favorite because he used to live near us and he used to see them, and they loved Jose Reyes. He was their buddy, so they love him. So, but they have a good time, and they're just getting into being big sports fans now, and it's a lot of fun.
And that's why you'll keep doing this.
It's funny. Everyone thinks my wife wants me to quit. My kids all voted for me to stay.
Of course.
And my wife voted for me to come home.
So they get a kick out of watching Daddy on TV?
They said, Dad, we don't want you ever to quit. I said, that's too long.
That's why you'll stay. Mike, we appreciate you doing this.
But listen, continued success. It's from here. I think NBC will be calling within a couple of minutes.
Well, Fox is starting a new sports network. CBS
listen, compared to Regis, you guys are young.
I was going to say, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, how Regis is going to be on the show every day. I mean, Regis, come on. I love Regis, but I mean, Regis, please go home.
Can't he find a beach somewhere?
Regis, go home. I mean, go home and sit on your money. I mean, my God.
Should we keep sending you links? Should we keep sending you links?
Keep sending me links.
Will you actually
the reason to erase. Don't worry about it. The reason to erase.
Come on.
And like I said, you need a good laugh.
You just go trying to erase.
Mike, thanks for the time. By the way, my good buddy has not done this yet, but we
I don't know who your good buddy is. Who is
Chris Russo. Yeah, but thank you again.
Bye, guys. Congratulations.
For the times and
that's it. Mike, stay as mean as you are. My wife's favorite caller, believe it or not, is Mike from Montclair because she says he annoys the heck out of you. I love it.
Until next time, for the hometown hero, Mike Goldstein, Denny D'Addario to my right.
And by the way, our thanks to Eric Spitz, Mark Chernoff, everyone here at WFAN.
Can I finish?
Okay,
I am Al Renato. We want to thank all the powers that be here at WFAN, which are, of course, Mark Chernoff, Eric Spitz, and, of course, the one and only Mike Francesa. Until next time, for the 3 wise men, we are the men. We'll see you.